Well, as you can see, I'm still away. And yes, it's been a challenge. Otis is hanging in there, and we get to have our little video talks, and I'm hoping that he is still aware that I'm around. I'm just hoping he understands I'm still around. But anyway, it's a little challenging, but hey, we'll get through this. Thanks to everyone and all of your warm well wishes. And remember to follow me on Facebook to catch my videos and the time that I usually share with Otis on my Facebook channel. Now, getting into the video that I am talking about today. And I think what we are seeing is we're seeing a shift in something that is going to come to a head. Only because right now we know that Prince Harry wants to reconcile with his family. There are talks with him speaking to the king, hopefully sometime in September. And we know that Prince William is not involved in that. Well, you know, we have this direction of Harry wanting to do one thing, Meghan doing another, and that's going to create this snowball effect that is going to come to a head much later, and it's going to have consequences, and it's going to involve the children. It's going to be a very, I think, ugly and nasty situation that I have foreseen since starting to talk about all of this. I can see it happening, and it's actually starting to happen. So what we have now, it comes to what do you do when you are trying to live a certain type of a life, but everything that you do, everything that you are trying to do is not getting you to where you're trying to go financially. You are not succeeding in your endeavors, your work. You are simply, every single time you try to do something, you are getting bombarded with a lot of negativity that is not upping your profile to help you make more and more and more money. And that is exactly the situation that Meghan is in right now, because Harry is out of it. Harry's out of the loop. Harry is doing his little talks here and there, and he's trying to get back to the United Kingdom. Meghan is plowing through. Meghan is still trying to make that money. Well, the most recent thing that I spoke about in my video yesterday was that the Netflix deal is dead. That's official. It looks like this is just not going to be anything after what she did for that episode 2 is done. And the only thing that she has now in her back pocket is a show about the divorce, a show about the separation, a show about her time within the royal household, her time with royalty. That is her golden ticket. It's like it's the power play that she's going to have, the only thing that she's going to be able to do that's going to definitely get her a lot of money. And here is yet another situation that is not going to help it. And I think this is what Harry sees. And as he sees this happening more and more, the more he knows it's not good for him in America. His life in America is ticking, and that time is going to be up. What do you do? Well, she's now being dubbed a fraud. And I'm going to explain to you why this is so critical. Because when you start getting these kinds of commentary, it takes heed, especially with people in these power positions, people that have the authority to help elevate you in your star status. So Meghan Markle branded a fraud as she is accused of using people to boost her brand. So Meghan has been heavily criticized by a lawyer who has accused her of, quote, using people to boost her brand and advance herself. Now, these are things that we've already known. Like we know this. I was like, oh yeah, we know that. That's the truth. That's the truth, right? But it's now coming out as a statement by this attorney Now hang in there with me, folks. So Meghan launched her As Ever brand back in April, and her products sold out within minutes. We all know that. We heard the sold out. Oh my God.
We spent so much time making sure we had so much more inventory. That's why we took the time, and you guys are doing it again. Even flower sprinkles, which I knew was going to be the big one again, so that has more inventory than all of it. And that's also about to sell out.
I'm sold out. Well, Meghan's next 2 subsequent launches also sold out quickly, with Meghan thanking her customers for their support. Now, this Canadian lawyer, Philip Millar, blasted the Duchess and said that her sold out As Ever products prove how gullible a lot of consumers are. That is something that you have to understand that Meghan is banking on. She is banking on the gullibility of people. And I said this in the beginning of my channel when she moved to California. She was going to bank on the fact that not a lot of people understand how royalty works in America. Not all. We know there are a few Americans, right, that we get it. But the majority of Americans, they don't understand how it works. It's like a sideline. Like the most they ever knew was Princess Diana, and she was a good person. Like they don't know much about it. So that was the one thing that Meghan was banking on, because that was going to give her a leg up, considering she had this attachment to royalty, and she could pretty much set the narrative for the things that happened to her in this foreign country. She could talk about things that happened to her. She could speak about her royal experiences, and people were essentially going to believe her because that's just something so far off and outside our knowledge that a lot of people were just going to hear it and accept it. And that's what this attorney is saying also about the things that she did with her brand As Ever and selling things and saying that it was sold out. So we know that her sold out products included her fruit spreads, her teas, her crepes, her cookie mixes, her little flower sprinkles, and recently we know her rosé wine. Mr. Miller, this attorney, spoke on this, the Art of the Brand podcast, with co-host California marketing executive Camille Moore, and said that the Duchess's brand lacks authenticity. He also slammed her for making a deliberate misrepresentation of what she is. And we know this. And we know this, man, right? We know this. And it has crossed over into her products, where people that don't even know much about this woman and her unauthenticity, they can see it through her branding of her products As Ever. They see the unauthentic person who has come out with this brand and has tried to make herself seem relatable, but she's not. She's not authentic. And it has crossed over into her branding, and that's not a good thing. Now, he also goes on to say that she is a fraud. Well, she's a fraud. Not so good. Who was just using opportunities to advance herself. These are things that we all saw. But when you have people who are in the business, who know marketing, that know products, that know the value of something, and they can come out and talk about your brand being not authentic, if they can pinpoint it in such a way as a specialist around marketing, you know you were in trouble. Girl, you were in trouble, girl. And that's what we have here. He went on to say that Meghan is not substantial. He's agitated, he says, by her so much because it is a deliberate misrepresentation of what she is, because she thinks she can pretend to be that while actually being this, and sucker people into buying her stuff. And every step of the way, she's failing because it's not legitimate, it's not intelligent, it's not well executed. Do you understand how this right here has completely set the tone for Meghan's future, because your brand is your person. And so her brand has been executed in a way that is who Meghan is. It's almost like you couldn't even find the right kind of people to kind of put that unauthentic self of Meghan in the background so that they could focus on the brand and elevate the brand to be substantial. They couldn't do it because Meghan always has to have her little hands into everything and not listen to the people that know what they're doing. And because she did that, she did not allow her brand to be disconnected from who she is as a person. She aligned it all in one. And now her brand is exactly how people see her personal brand, who she is as a person. These two that have been merged into one, how do you make a future? How do you elevate yourself to make the money you need to make when you can't even separate who you are as a person from the products that you sell? Because there was an opportunity there for Meghan to really be able to do that had she listened to the people who were trying to tell her. But Meghan always wants to be the one in all of it. She's told us this. She's given us how she operates. We know her 411. And because she wasn't able to listen and to get the support she needed to execute a very well branded brand and a well created and marketed brand, she wasn't able to do it. And so think about Harry in this moment. Think about her husband, who does not really want to be in America because they're not able to make the money they need to make to live the lifestyle that Harry is accustomed to. Because don't get it twisted, Harry is a prince, and they're not showing up with the kind of money that's going to elevate them to the status that they need to live that kind of life. And I can see Harry now being in a situation where he sees his self as a prince going down. Like, he's not feeling so much like a prince anymore. He's feeling like just an everyday average man trying to pay his bills. And that doesn't feel good, especially when you can't pay the bills. It doesn't feel good. You feel not so sure of yourself. You don't feel really manly. You don't feel adequate. Your self-esteem goes down. You start to feel like you're inept. You are not able to keep yourself above the fray. You're not able to live or sustain the life that you've been accustomed to. And that does a lot to your psyche. And I think this is why we're seeing all of these reports about Harry and his reconciling with his family. Even that BBC interview that he did was a call for help. He was just saying, Papa, I need you. I need somebody. Please help me. I want to reconcile. I want my life back. That was a cry for help. There was nothing about her brand that was good from the start to a distinguishing eye. She was a fraud from what I can see from the beginning, who was just using opportunities to advance herself. Her brand wasn't one built on substance. There's no substance there. It was based on using people, because Meghan's MO is to revert back to that struggling actress who's trying to make her way. She really couldn't see that she was in a much more elevated position. She thought she could use that position to continue doing what she had always been doing as a struggling actress. You know, when you have people that know what they're talking about, you listen to them because they know things a lot better than you. I mean, for example, I can tell you right now, if someone wanted to come and do my makeup and dress me, I'm going to listen, because I'm going to look a lot different than how I do it as opposed to the professional shopping for me, buying the clothes that suit my style, that suit my body type, doing my makeup in a way that accentuates certain features. Like, you listen to these people. And that's where Meghan has failed. She didn't want to listen. And this is what he also says. He says that they're not executing anything well on any show, on anything, but it shows how gullible a lot of consumers are. And that is what Meghan wanted. She wanted the gullibility of the people with her own expertise in her head. That has not executed a brand that's going to elevate her to the money she needs to make. And Harry is feeling very insecure at this moment because he sees it's not working. This Canadian lawyer also blasted the Duchess for using her fame from Suits and her links to the royal family to milk fans for everything she can. That's right, folks. She was milking. She was milking it. Because she knew she had something that people were going to just believe her just because. And that's what she banked on. She had one shot. And now it's over. It really is over. How is she going to elevate anything around this brand? Thank you so much for watching this video, and I will see you all in the next one. Cheerio.